whose names are imprinted by the quill upon her will in that book of scarlet leather. For my own was scratched and scribbled, dishonored and libelled by the inkwell and the feather. The evening air, cool and crisp, sauntered silent as a wisp into my dreaming of a nightfall drab, ripping asunder by the roaring sound of thunder the introspective scab. The coo of an owl thrilled me with acute awareness to a colleen who had about her a radiant fairness, dressed in a gown and cowl. On the wind she gaited. Quite strangely, she had levitated with a stately stride, first atop the balcony, past the doors that guarded me, and then to my bedside. Her eyes, like darkened diamonds, gleamed in the twilight that did so clearly highlight those soulless orbs of pitch. The candle's impetuosity fought against the shadow with animosity, and just as night released its shaded tentacle, my attention was drawn thereupon the pentacle pinned to the attire of the witch. From changing leaves to thorn and thistle, I could hear the spirit of the season whistle who caused the trees to twist. Rapidly, they bowed and quivered, shook and shivered, to the tune of this unforeseen ventriloquist. The summer wrote its dirge, and from the singing would emerge the springing of the autumn. How my stanzas fixed to teeter, when she spoke a hex meant to vex the pattern of my pentameter. I received the next day a visitation from a raven of incineration, sitting at my foot. The eyes of flame would flit and flicker, lighting like a man of wicker the ring it made from soot. The embers reached and stretched until they neatly etched runes read plain to a man more sensible. Persuaded of the English vernacular, I thought this not the least spectacular, as it was to me incomprehensible. On my way to tell of this account, my eyelids shut a great amount, and I was drowning in rancid waters, spoiled and tepid. Though I couldn't swim, I thrashed each limb of my body cold and trepid. Some angelic draught had sent a raft that had brought me to the shallows. Upon that sanguine shore, I saw lining round the door guardians of gallows. The moonlight on the gory water glistened, and I intently listened to the wood of the gallows that seemed to speak with a slight creak in the landscape hushed. As I entered into the flooded village dock, I looked out past the boardwalk to the walls fallen in and crushed. From the cathedral in the center, that was watching like some sick tormentor, came a distant knell. Of its clanging prolonged rambles, drew from the ebony liquid a man of shambles summoned by the spell. Crawling forth this rotting carcass mangled, clawed at me with flesh that dangled off its atrophying arm. I sprinted past the gates that glinted with the midnight sun in a great alarm. By ironic intervention, I saw tied with strictest tension to the torturous invention, the woman who with that curse reciting bade ill to my creative writing and was worthy of requital. I swallowed my pride in the ropes I had untied from the splintered beams so brittle. Saving her from being hanged and burned, I asked the favor be returned and be brought back to my dwelling. Now as I reached this resolution, I apologize for the usage of circumlocution in this tale I thought worth telling. When out of this sedative trance, I arose from bed with an unsure stance and saw through the fog that was clearing something oddly peering back. Claws of straw stuffed underneath a flannel pile. Seams were ripping, blood was dripping from the offset smile in its hungry button eyes of black. It was made with some supernatural stitch. It never drove the crows away. But once upon each autumn day, the only thing it would ever say is it's the season of the witch.